Welcome to Orange Coast Unitarian Universalist Church. My name is Jolene Ibanez, and I am your worship associate today. I am joined by Reverend Sian Wiltshire, our minister, Jacob Swetland, our director of music ministries, and Karen Magoon Pearson, our director of religious education for children and youth, is out today, but she will be back next week. We all welcome you this morning. We would also like to recognize the many volunteers that have helped to put this service together today. We respectfully recognize that our church property rests on Ahachiman and Tongva land. As Unitarian Universalists, we have many different beliefs, but we are one loving community. We are bound together not by a common set of rules or beliefs, but rather a covenant. A covenant is a promise that whatever our beliefs, we accept one another and encourage each other in spiritual growth. We affirm that all life has inherent value and that all existence is interconnected. We strive for justice and compassion in our deeds and relationships. And we are committed to creating a welcoming community without regard to the traits that sometimes divide people. To our roomers, we invite you to silence your cell phones. And to our Zoomers, we invite you to say hello in the chat. I want to extend a special welcome to visitors. If you're seeking a spiritual home, we hope that you will find it here. We begin our worship with the lighting of our chalice. This morning, I'd like to invite myself. My name is Jolene Ibanez, and I've been a member here for about 8 years. And I have a son, and he's really cute, and he's over there. His name is Chance. He's 16. And my husband, Joel, he's over there running the camera, and I'm not telling you his age. And I like the color pink. Okay. Let us all join as I light the chalice. Let's say our unison affirmation together. Love is the spirit of this church, and service is its law. To dwell together in peace, to seek truth in love, and to help one another. This we affirm together.
Please rise, embody your spirit, and let's sing our opening song.
Welcome. Welcome, all of you who seek renewal in a weary world. Welcome to all who come with love and energy to share. Welcome to those who worry for the future, and welcome those who are grateful for today. Know that this place, you are not alone. In community, we share our strength with one another, and we keep the flame of love burning bright. Know that in this place, responsibility is shared, and here tradition holds us. Ancestors shine a light from the past. Here the young lift up their bright faces and beckon us onward, and together, holding hands and hearts, we go forward.
Every face is in you, every voice, every sorrow in you, every pity, every love, every memory woven into every breath is in you, every cry, every longing in you, every singing, every hope, every healing woven into God. Every heart is in you, every tongue, every trembling in you, every blessing, every soul, every shining woven into
That was lovely. Thank you. Good morning, everyone. It's nice to see you here. So I was wondering if I had a basket of treasure up here, candy, gift cards, whatever, and I said the very first person who could get up to me would get it all. What would you do? Sean won. Reverend Sean won. Well, today I have a story for you, and it's inspired by an African concept called Ubuntu. And that simply means I am because we are. I am because we are. It means caring for others and going the extra mile for the sake of another person. Ubuntu says that our humanity is bound together, and if you're wondering what exactly that means, I am going to tell you by way of a story. So there was this anthropologist who had been studying the habits and customs of a tribe that he'd been working with in Africa, and he finished his work, and he'd been waiting for his transportation to get there from the airport so he could return home. And he'd always been surrounded by the children of the tribe. So to help pass the time this one last time before he left, he proposed a game for the children to play. And he brought lots of candy and sweets in from the city, and he put everything in a basket with a beautiful ribbon attached. And then he drew a line on the ground, and he had everybody line up on the line and say, wait here at this line for my signal. And when he said go, he wanted them to rush over to the basket, and the first to arrive would win all the candies. Well, when he said go, they unexpectedly got up and held each other's hands and ran together to go get the candies in that basket. And once they were there, they simply shared everything and were really happy and enjoyed it together. And the anthropologist, he was really surprised. He said, why have you gone together? Especially if the first person to get there could have won everything, all the sweets. And a young girl simply replied, how can one of us be happy if all the other ones are sad? So the anthropologist was pretty dumbfounded. For months, he'd been trying to kind of get at the heart of what made this tribe thrive. And in these last few moments on the way to the airport, he got it. So Ubuntu means I am because we are. And it is a traditional African concept. It's a term for humaneness and caring and sharing and being harmony with everything in creation. So as we go out today, I just want you to take some time. I invite you to imagine what it would be like to be in this mindset. Can you imagine if everyone else around you was kind of living in that mindset along with you? And on that note, I am going to light our children's chalice today. And we will sing our children out to their classrooms.
I've got a reading for you this morning, and I want to give a little shout out to Judith Stamper, who sent this to me, so I've kind of adapted it a little bit, but it's by the Rabbi Sharon Brous, and she has a wonderful book that she's written as well about this concept. She wrote this. She said, buried deep within the Mishnah, a Jewish legal compendium from around the 3rd century, is an ancient practice reflecting a deep understanding of the human psyche and spirit, that when your heart is broken, when the specter of death visits your family, when you feel lost and alone and inclined to retreat, you show up. You entrust your pain to the community. The text describes a pilgrimage ritual from the time of the Second Temple. Several times a year, hundreds of thousands of Jews would ascend to Jerusalem, the center of Jewish religious and political life. And they would climb the steps of the Temple Mount, you'll see a picture of it there, enter its enormous plaza, turning to the right en masse, circling counterclockwise. Meanwhile, the brokenhearted, the mourners, and here I include the lonely and the sick, would make this same ritual walk, but they would turn to the left and circle in the opposite direction, every step against the current. Each person who encountered someone in pain would look into that person's eyes and inquire, what happened to you? Why does your heart ache? My father died, a person might say. There are many things I never got to say to him. Or perhaps my partner left. I was completely blindsided. Or my child is sick. We're awaiting the test results. Those who walked from the right would offer a blessing. May the Holy One comfort you, they would say, or you are not alone. And then they would continue to walk until the next person approached. This timeless wisdom speaks to what it means to be human in a world of pain. This year you walk the path of the anguished. Perhaps next year it will be me. I hold your broken heart, knowing that one day you will hold mine. She continues, I read in this text many profound lessons, too particularly pertinent in our time when so many of us feel that we are breaking. First, do not take your broken heart and go home. Don't isolate. Step toward those whom you know will hold you tenderly. And on your good days, the days when you can breathe, show up then too, because the very fact of seeing those who are walking against the current, people can barely hold on, and asking you with an open heart, tell me about your sorrow, may be the deepest affirmation of our humanity, even in terribly inhumane times. Thus ends our reading. So we're going to do a little experiment this morning. Don't worry, I'm not going to make you walk around in a big circle. But I invite you to take just a deep breath for a few moments. Maybe close your eyes or soften them. Get comfortable for just a moment. I invite you to consider if there is any pain in your life right now. It doesn't have to be deep pain. It could be something in your family, your health, or even in the news. What pain do you hold? Okay, so here comes the experiment. Now I want you to pair up. Find someone maybe you don't know that well. One person is going to go first. The closest to the podium might be the way to adjust it. They then name their pain, like in the story, and the second person can then say something back to them. And I've got some ideas up here. You're not alone. May you know that you are loved. Or I am so sorry. I wish all good things for you. And once that's done, I invite you to then switch. Don't dwell more than just a sentence on what's going on. When you're done, turn back to the podium. Let me know that you're finished. As if you were keeping walking on the temple grounds. Go ahead.
I am so sorry. Know that you are loved. And that was in the corner of mine too.
We've all got that. See, now you get a bunch of you-yous talking, and we're not going to stop, are we? All right, I'm going to do a little bit louder. I tell you, even when I say one sentence, I'm kidding. I love y'all. It's all good. So how did that feel? Does it kind of help at all for some people? Thumbs up? Okay. Well, let's go ahead and sing our song, and then we'll talk a little bit more about that. I don't know about you all, but I did not really learn how to learn until I was in graduate school. In high school and in college, I was one of those students who got almost straight A's, but rarely studied. And it's okay to hate me just a little bit. Basically, what I would do is I would take 10 minutes before the exam, usually sitting there in the class, and I quickly memorize everything. And then on the test, I would just regurgitate whatever had happened. In fact, one summer in college, I took an ancient Greek intensive course. It was like a full year in one summer. It was notorious for being really hard, and I am the first person to have ever aced it. Thank you very much. Of course, I didn't retain anything because once it was in my brain, it went out just as quickly because I hadn't really learned how to study, how to learn. But I finally did when I was in graduate school studying archaeology at Bryn Mawr. This was one of my alma maters here. And I learned what I call critical thinking, right? To really put my knowledge to the test, and it was also way more fun. My master's thesis advisor and mentor was Gloria Pinney. She passed away last year, which I was really bummed to hear. She was wonderful. She made sure that the very first thing that I was to do on my master's thesis was to describe the piece that I was doing on. So I was studying Roman archaeology, and I had this piece called the Anaglypha Traiani. And she said, I just want you to describe it in great detail. I was like, okay. So I remember the first day I came back to her and it was like 2 pages long of a description. She said, no, much more detail than that. Well, I want to show you something. This here is my original master's thesis in archaeology. My dog got to the thing. But if you look in here, probably a third of it at least is description. I had to redo it 3 times until she was satisfied. But the reason why she asked me to do that was because she wanted me to draw my own conclusions about the piece, to really study it, to understand it on my own before I went and looked at what other scholars had to say on the piece. And because of that, because I did it that way, it turned out that my master's thesis was actually completely original, which was very unusual for a master's thesis in my field. So I was very proud of that, and it taught me the importance of trusting myself and looking at original material myself before reading the opinions of others. Because memorization is really not learning. Regurgitating information is really not learning. Both of them may be part of learning, but learning is about retaining the information that you've gained. But learning is also not critical thinking. Critical thinking is learning to think for yourself first. It's learning to question and trust your own instincts rather than those of others. That doesn't mean you might not change your mind later after reading what people have to say. But too often, however, we believe the headlines, right, before we look at an original video or a document ourselves, particularly in the news, but also when we read religious texts, always putting them in context. Always put them in context and come to your own conclusions first. Because here's the thing about being a Unitarian Universalist. It's more than memorization or regurgitation. It's more than learning. I believe that to be a healthy Unitarian Universalist, you need critical thinking skills. And I love this about our tradition, that we encourage critical thinking. Doubts are welcome in this tradition. Learning and growing are welcome. Changing your mind is welcome. When we are at our best, we are curious, not condemning. The problem, of course, is this. Critical thinking is a lot of hard work. It takes dedication, it takes patience, it takes listening, it takes doing your own research, but the payoff is wonderful. The payoff is truth. I'll tell you a story. I had a Catholic coworker years and years ago, and I remember I was talking about theology with another coworker, and she overheard us, and I remember her saying to me, I just want to be told what to think. And I couldn't grasp that concept. And this was before I was a UU. I was like, what? Like, how can you do that? Because so many religions really, they offer that. They offer dogmas and rules. And I don't really blame people for wanting things to be easy. Easy is nice. I think this is why I'm really addicted to puzzles right now. Like, everything fits so nice, right? You know, in this day and age when we are bombarded with opinions and podcasts and Facebook posts and all these algorithms that tell us what we want to hear, it's ever more important to practice these skills, not just about our own religious beliefs. I was listening to a podcast, so here I am listening to a podcast, and the guy said, you know, he says, like, I'm gay, and I'm, you know, I also really like to work out, and I posted something about it on Facebook, and now I'm getting all of these, you know, advertisements for misogynistic peoples and podcasts, and I'm like, what, you know, like, it's just crazy what people, the assumptions also that people make. But I think that there's another skill that we practice that means that we are healthy Unitarian Universalists, and that is discernment. And I didn't learn this until actually, not formally, until I was in seminary. So here's another story for you. I learned this from Tara Moore. She wrote this. She said, 2 rabbis, great sages, are arguing about how one should comfort a friend in distress. One rabbi argues that a person should simply be with the friend in their distress, listening to them, letting them cry, not trying to change a thing, right? Just be there for them. The other rabbi says, in effect, no. The best way to comfort a friend in distress is to cheer them up, whether by making them truly laugh or making them do something fun or uplifting or distracting them from their sadness. And each rabbi brings compelling arguments to support their points, and each shares examples of times they've used their approach with great results. How does the argument get settled? I love it. The great Jewish tradition, it just ends right there. There are no conclusions. In other words, it depends, right? That's discernment. It depends. It's recognizing that every problem may not have the same solution. You know, I remember when I was taught listening skills, so we were taught this in seminary, how to listen, which is an actual skill, trust me on this one. And we were taught, just be there for the person, you know, reflect back what you're hearing from them, how they're feeling, so that they get recognized and feel heard, right? And the biggest thing was, do not give advice. Okay, now that's really hard for me. I am a problem solver. I'm really good at problem solving. But I've learned, okay, no, I just, you know, I need to listen and be there for them, right? But one day, someone came up to me with an issue in their family, someone here in the church, and they didn't know what to do. Now, I was supposed to listen and say, you know, I'm so sorry, that must be really hard, you know, that kind of thing. But instead, I blurted out, well, did you know you can hire someone to help you with that? And I thought, oh man, I just gave advice. But the thing was, she was like, really? I can? Oh my goodness, wow, how do I find this person? What can I do? And I helped her find someone to help her with it. Do you ever never give advice? Well, it depends, right? And if critical thinking is learning to think for yourself, discernment is about learning what is the right decision based on the information that you have, right? And the two can go hand in hand. I think that to be a healthy Unitarian Universalist, you need to have both of those skills. And like I said, they are skills. We have to learn them. Here's the thing, though. A lot of people cannot stand that level of ambiguity. It depends, right? I don't want to have to work that hard to look things up online, do my own research, whatever it is. And our 7 principles, here they are, require discernment. There's a lot of it depends in them. For example, if you look at our 1st and 7th principles, in some ways they're sort of opposite ends of the spectrums, right? So our 1st principle says that we affirm and promote the inherent worth and dignity of every person. It's very individualistic, right? But our 7th principle says we respect for the interdependent web of all existence of which we are a part. So then that's much more of a communal or collective way of seeing things. They're kind of 2 sides of the same coin. And this is something that everybody has to discern for themselves, right? It's the difference between individualism and collectivism. Individualism is a perspective that emphasizes the importance of autonomy, of rights and freedom. Every person possesses inherent value and is entitled to make choices for their own goals. And that's the perspective of most Western cultures and nations. But it's also what can make capitalism go way out of control in its extremes, like it's all about me, right? And what I want. Collectivism, on the other hand, emphasizes the welfare of the group or community over the individual. Individuals are to prioritize their needs of the group and work together toward common goals and shared values. They value cooperation, collaboration, and interdependence. Now, I don't know about you, but when I think of collectivism, I think of more like repressive societies like China or North Korea. But at its best, right, isn't it Ubuntu? At its best, it's sharing the joys and sorrows as a community. And we're kind of go up and down this as a spectrum, right, as you think about it. We tend to be on the side of individualistic, but I think when we're at our best, we actually are somewhat collective. We're interdependent. That is Ubuntu in the way of seeing things. And note that neither of these, individualism or collectivism, is better, right? That's too binary, right? It's depends. That's what it is for each of us. It depends. There are times when each of us work toward a collective goal, like we're building a new sanctuary, for example. But we also have our own ideas about what God or God is or is not. And that's why we say many different beliefs, one loving community. That's our byline. You know, and we also have, if we go back to, our principles, if you look at, there's other areas like our third, fourth, and fifth principles. Can you pick out the ambiguity in there? So we accept one another. This is a third principle, right? We accept one another, but we encourage spiritual growth, right? Do you see kind of it depends? And our fourth principle is a responsible search for truth and meaning. Is meaning and truth the same thing? No, they're different. Fifth principle, right? We have the right of conscience and we support democracy. In other words, right of conscience means I get to go and protest against what I think might be unfair, but as a democracy, we vote. And that's a challenge. When do you discern when it's time to speak up about something? This is not easy. We are many different beliefs in one loving community. Different political beliefs, different cultures, different identities, but one loving community. And that, to me, is what it means to be a Unitarian Universalist, to hold all of this, right? I'm always very fond, the older I get, of quoting Betty Davis, who said, "Old age is no place for sissies." This is my take on that. Neither is being a Unitarian Universalist. Forgive the misogyny in that, but I think it's hilarious. If you ask people, right, about what is Unitarian Universalism, well, people might say, well, I can believe whatever I want as a Unitarian Universalist. But to me, that's kind of a little bit of an immature way of looking at it. I think a better way of stating it is, I get to explore all kinds of ways of thinking. I get to explore all kinds of ways of thinking. Being a UU also, to me, is more than just talking about social justice. It's more than I get to believe whatever I want, right? Being a UU means using both critical thinking and discernment. This is probably why we'll never be actually a really large denomination, honestly, because not that many people want to work that hard. So what does it mean to be a Unitarian Universalist? To me, it's more than just sitting in our pews on Sunday morning. It's more than I can think whatever I want, right? It's more than social justice. To me, what social justice is, it's not who we are per se, but it's a byproduct of who we are. A byproduct of our critical thinking and discernment skills. Because if you really start looking at our principles and living our principles, the worth and dignity of every person, interdependence of existence, you can't help but realize that those circles need to be drawn wider and wider. But I say that beyond being a place where you can think whatever you want, or beyond being a social justice club, there's one thing that we must always recognize about who we are as Unitarian Universalists, and it's not that sexy. Okay, it's not even that unique, but I think it's absolutely vital. And that is that we are a community. First and foremost, a community, a loving community, a community of diverse people who choose to walk together. At our best, we are Ubuntu. I am because we are. I am a Unitarian Universalist because we are Unitarian Universalists. Let me say that again. I am a Unitarian Universalist because we are a Unitarian Universalist. I cannot exist alone without all of you. Without all your opinions, your ideas, your discernment, your critical thinking. We hold and balance this individual and communal needs, never perfectly, but always, I believe that when our heart is in a holy place, I believe that we can change the world, maybe more importantly, change ourselves. So come, let us sing.
Rise in body or spirit, and let's sing our closing song.
When our heart is in a holy place, when our heart is in a holy place, we are blessed with love and amazing grace. When our heart is in a holy place, when we trust the wisdom in each of us, every color, every creed and kind, and we see our faces in each other's eyes, then our heart is in a holy place. When our heart is in a holy place, when our heart is in a holy place, we are blessed with love and amazing grace. When our heart is in a holy place, when we tell our story from deep inside, and we listen with a loving mind, and we hear our voices in each other's words, then our heart is in a holy place. When our heart is in a holy place, when our heart is in a holy place, we are blessed with love and amazing grace. When our heart is in a holy place, when we share the silence of sacred space, and the God of our heart stirs within, and we feel the power of each other's faith, then our heart is in a holy place. When our heart is in a holy place, when our heart is in a holy place, we are blessed with love and amazing grace. When our heart is in a holy place, when our heart is in a holy place.
That and Lean On Me are my two favorites. Unitarian Universalist churches are fully self-supporting, meaning that members and friends raise all of the operating budget, ministries, and programs of the church. We are ever grateful for your gifts of time, treasure, and talent. UUC amplifies that spirit of generosity by sharing half of the plate we receive with an organization that shares our values. This month we are partnering with Stand Up for Kids. Every other month we do Stand Up for Kids, and as it pertains to today's service, This would be our collective. Let me read you a little something. We give our youth a sense of safety, hope, and belonging. Safety through our street outreach program that brings kids in from the cold. Hope through our one-stop centers where together we create blueprints for success and provide referral services. And belonging through relationships with trusted, caring adults who provide mentoring and life skills training, emotional and social support. We're not telling these kids to pull themselves up by their bootstraps without first making sure they got some bootstraps. There are multiple ways in which you can support this church and this organization. You can mail a check. You could go through our website, use an app called Vanco Mobile. If you're a roomer, you can simply use the basket as it's passed around. The choice is yours. All the information is on our website should you need it. And as always, thank you for your generosity.
Are you doing the east today or the north? Yeah, I'm all good to do the west, yeah.
I'm gonna share with you. I'm gonna share with you. I'm gonna share with you. Hope you don't mind. Some things I learned from my kangaroo time. I'm gonna share with you. Hope you don't mind. Some things I learned from my kangaroo time. Let's go shop to your enemy's eyes. Keep them hard if you're bigger in size. Underestimate, you cannot think twice. Get so good, you gotta do what feels right. You're surrounded by mates, are you feeling alright? I'm gonna share with you. I'm gonna share with you. I'm gonna share with you. Hope you don't mind. Some things I learned from my kangaroo time. I'm gonna share with you. Hope you don't mind. Some things I learned from my kangaroo time.
I would like to invite at this special time of Pledge Drive year, Craig Sperry to the microphone. Yay!
Thank you, Jolynn. Good morning, everyone. Why I love this place. I'm a longer-term member. I used to live in Eastside Costa Mesa back in the early 80s, and I would drive down Victoria Street, and I knew there was a church up on that hill. Didn't know what church it was. It wasn't until the early 90s that I wanted to join a choir, and I went there, and they welcomed me, and I joined the choir, and started getting involved with other things. I ended up being on the Building and Grounds Committee, which I'm still on to this day. Yay. I was also on the search committee that brought Reverend Karen Stoyanoff to us with her successful ministry. Thank you, Karen. I met my wife, my soon-to-be wife, at that time also, Linda. We then moved to Connecticut, or we moved to Massachusetts, to Nantucket Island, where we lived for 10 years. And in 2009, during that time, Reverend Karen came and married us at the Unitarian Church on the island, a very special moment. Thank you, Karen. We did return back to Southern California in 2016, where we jumped right back in to this church here, and I got back in the choir and back with Building and Grounds. And I have to mention that Reverend Sean was very important in bringing up the idea of a new sanctuary. So that's sort of when things started happening. Linda was involved with the fundraising, and I'm the chair of the Sanctuary Construction Committee. So a little more on that later, but I wanted to talk about why this place is so important. And it kind of reflects on the sermon topic today about community and what we do. And over the years, some might recall that we did ATM, which is AIDS Team Ministry, back at Victoria, where we made thousands of meals for people suffering from AIDS, and we would deliver them. And if the people didn't have a microwave oven to heat the meals up, we would provide those also. So it was a great program, very successful, and I was very proud to be part of it. I know Linda participated in cooking some of the meals. More recently, as was just talked about, we share the plate every month. And that's another thing to be proud about. We're reaching out to the community. So that makes me proud to be a member of this church, that we do things like that. And the other thing was the Ukrainians next door, that we've hosted over 100 Ukrainians over the last few years, which is awesome. And Linda and I have also sponsored a family to come to the U.S., which we're proud to do. So it's another example of things that we do here that affect the community, which I love. I think that's an awesome thing that we do. You might have been here last week when Glenn Highland spoke about the Pledge campaign and his vision for what we could do here and in the future, which was great. He was very well spoken about it. And I agree with what he talked about growing and talking about the sanctuary, the new sanctuary, that besides Glenn, we have other newcomers that are jumping right in. I know Melanie and Prasan, you spoke a couple weeks ago about being new members and how the Pledge campaign is important. We also have Emily, who's a new member and a board member. So thank you for stepping up, Emily. That's awesome. And I mentioned before about Sean. She was the important driving force behind the new sanctuary. I can break some news here that we just received notification from the city, where we've been in negotiations with them to build the new sanctuary. We've taken an extraordinary amount of time to get permits. And last week, we finally got all the departments to sign off on the application, which is huge. So, yeah. So now there's some more kind of paperwork that has to be taken care of. There's still boxes that have to be checked and other things filled out, but we're really close. I think when Nancy Lockery, who's president of our congregation, returns next week, we'll be able to kind of set a date for the groundbreaking, which is great. We've been waiting for that. So I bring that up, but I don't want to take away from the pledge drive, because the sanctuary is different than the operating pledge. So it's important that everyone be generous and make a nice, healthy pledge toward the church. So, thank you.
Thank you, Craig. So please join us in singing We Gather Together, a song that puts our intentions into words and expresses our gratitudes for the many gifts that we share.
Gather together, we gather as one, for peace, love, and justice for everyone. We give from our hearts to show that we care. We can change lives with what we share.
Craig is here, I'm here. Now is that time when we honor the important events and people in our lives, and you're invited, one and all, whether you're a member, a friend, a visitor, to participate in this ritual we call Joys and Sorrows. I'd like to invite Lori Kluge up here to join us. She's one of our pastoral care team members, and she'll be here to assist us. The idea is, if you've been holding something in your heart from the last days, weeks, or hours, something that maybe has struck you at your core, and you'd like to honor that, embody that by lighting a candle, you are welcome to do so. If you would like to share your joy or sorrow with the congregation, you can fill out a little slip of paper and hand it to me when you come forward to light your candle. The ushers have them if you need one. If you didn't get one when you first came in. And of course, Zoomers, you can write yours in the chat. I've got my phone open to the chat here. And what we'll do is, if you'd like to share them, then I'll read them out loud while Lori then lights a candle for you. So please come forward and light your candle. Excuse me. I've got a couple of joys that were sent to me ahead of time. One is a joy from Marcia H. She says the fiction book group had a wonderful surprise at their last meeting on Monday. It was an online visit from the author, Amanda Skenador, whose book, The Nurse's Secret, they had discussed. She wants to thank Meg, our discussion leader, who arranged for the author to come. She said, we had a delightful meeting with Amanda and learned so much about her writing preparations. Excuse me. And Judith S., she says she would light a candle of joy, she said, for her son Marshall, who is in Taiwan. She said Marshall texted that he was safe in Taiwan before he even knew there was an earthquake. Good deal. Thank you. All right, Jennifer T. Said that these flowers, these beautiful flowers in my Sandy over here, she said are for her dad Milo's birthday. He would have been 95 today. So Jolene, she has a candle of joy because unexpectedly she's got the opportunity to go along with her husband Joel on a work trip he's taking to New York City. She says, we fly out on Tuesday and pray that the plane doors are okay. Amen. Thank you. Let's see here. Melanie M. says she lit a candle of joy because 1 year ago today, she says, we landed here in California with 140 pounds of luggage and 2 very confused cats.
Oh, no.
We're glad you landed here. And Wendy and I are lighting a candle of joy. For many of you know who Casey Pandel is. She's a frequent speaker who was with us all last summer. She was welcomed into the Unitarian Universalist Preliminary Fellowship after she passed her MFC interview on Friday, which means she now can be ordained, and she's now serving down in San Diego. So congratulations to Casey. This is an anonymous one. It's a candle of appreciation. Jolene, when she mentioned her son Chance, she said that he was very cute. And when she mentioned Joel, she forgot to say that he was cute too.
Oh, well, sorry. He is.
All right. Kathleen M., she's wishing a safe journey. She's a candle of hope, wishing of her a safe journey for the Kohouts. They are a Ukrainian family who has been with her these past 10 months, and they're packing up everything into their car and driving to Florida this week. Wow. Oh. And Ralph H. lit a candle of joy. He said, for the many occasions for us to converse and listen. And Sandy mentions, so we've got 2 flowers here. We got these beautiful ones over here, and then these beautiful ones here. You notice the rainbow. Who does that make you think of, you longtime members? So Laura wanted a rainbow of flowers in honor of Paul and Clover's anniversary. And those there on the candle table. So hopefully Clover and Paul are watching here now. Alejandro lit a candle of joy, he said, for a great Santa Ana art walk with mariachi music, art, food, and friends, and thought-provoking homilies. Thank you, Alejandro. All right, and then we have 2 others. Here's another one. Name left unsaid. They lit a candle of hope. Said Anna, a person I met on the way here, asking for prayers, good energy as she's going through difficult times. Anna may currently be homeless. And Dolly D. lit a candle of sorrow. She says, a shared sorrow. She said, my favorite cousin passed on Thursday, so during Pat Macaulay's service yesterday, I mourned them both. Somehow, I don't think Pat would have minded. No. And then here online, we've got a number of them as well. Oh, we have a lot. Let's see here. So Francie C., she says that she's having minor same-day surgery for removal of a pesky kidney stone tomorrow. She said, good healing thoughts and prayers are welcome. Thank you. Think about her at about 1 p.m. or so. And Marilyn F., she lit a candle of gratitude for successful knee surgery and extremely thankful for all your wonderful and thoughtful prayers and good wishes. See, community. Linda C., she said, please light a candle of love for our daughter Valerie, who is for the time being in a time of recovery from emotional, medical, and emotional distress. And Michelle R. lit a candle of sorrow, would like a candle lit of sorrow for going through a painful transition, a candle of joy for finding this church. Welcome, Michelle. And Sarah H., she has a candle of joy all the way down in Atlanta, Georgia. She says her granddaughter Emma's robotic team won first in Georgia at the first robotics championship. Congratulations, and they're headed to Houston for the Nationals. Woohoo. She also says her granddaughter Abby just returned from her mission trip in Mexico, and one last joy, Katie's color guard team is headed for national next week. So happy to be here to celebrate. Congratulations. Must be really proud of them. And then there are two sorrows. One is from Lee Marie. She says, a sorrow, I took a serious fall last Sunday right before church. She says, I didn't break any bones, but I did sustain significant bruising, particularly on my face, plus a lot of body soreness. She wants to thank a pastoral care associate, Lori Kluge, who called to check in on me. She was helpful, kind, and supportive. It's wonderful to be a member of Orange Coast UU. She says, what a perfect sermon. We are not alone. Oh, thank you. That's a colleague of mine, so you know, it's kind of cool. And then Kay lit a candle for Craig. She said, actually, it might be Craig who's actually lighting it, even though it looks like he's on his mom's phone. She said, a sorrow that my best friend Phil received an eviction notice and is looking for a room to rent. He said also a joy for community like OCUUC. So let us hold in love all these joys and celebrations and all the hurts and sadness, whether they were spoken or remain silent in our hearts. Let our joys remind us to be thankful, our concerns remind us to hope, and our sorrows remind us to connect with one another. Let all these moments remind us that we are not alone. Please join Lori in a spirit of prayer.
Today's prayer is the beautiful lyric sung by the choir this morning. The eternal flame. Every face is in you, every voice, every sorrow in you, every pity, every love, every memory woven into fire. Every breath is in you, every cry, every longing in you, every singing, every hope, every healing woven into fire. Every heart is in you, every tongue, every trembling in you, every blessing, every soul, every shining woven into fire. Amen.
Let us join together as we extinguish the flame of our chalice and say together, we extinguish our chalice, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. Thank you for joining us this morning. We are a congregation made up of people who believe differently. And yet, when we gather together, whether we are in the room or we're on Zoom, we make up one loving community. We need not think alike to love alike. If you're a guest, a visitor, or someone who hasn't yet been known to us, I invite you to become a part of this beloved community. If you'd like to know more about our church, we invite you to either stop by the welcome table in the courtyard where we have some goodies and information, or contact us at hello@ocuuc.org, and we will help you get connected. And if you would like more information than that, then you can subscribe to The Blast at blast@ocuuc.org. We'll help you get connected. For our roomers, we're also happy to offer a 15-minute tour of our campus with our lovely tour guide. If you're interested, and you can meet her over there by the door. Don't worry, you will stop by the coffee area as part of the tour. Zoomers are welcome to stay after and chat online. We want everyone to feel a part of this beloved community. So please reach out and we will help you get connected.
And there are a lot of ways to get connected, to meet people, get involved, all sorts of things. I want to point out a couple of things. Tuesday night, we're continuing on the second and fourth Tuesday, we do a world religions class. I'm going to be speaking on Confucianism. So everybody is welcome to that. It's the same Zoom link. Zoomers, it's the same Zoom link that we use here. And the information should be in the blast, but you can also just email me. If you can't make it, let me know. We record all of them and I can send it to you if you'd like to do that. We've got a new to UU class coming up on a Saturday, April 20th, from about 2 to 4 p.m. or so. That should be a lot of it. If you're just interested in what it means to be a Unitarian Universalist, it doesn't, we'll talk to you about what it means to become a member, but if you just want to know, like, what is Unitarian Universalism beyond what I just spoke about today? What's our history? How do we come to be? All that kind of thing. And get to meet a bunch of new people. Go ahead and sign up. We've got a sign up at the welcome table there. So go ahead and do that. We've got also our Artists Unite is coming back. We're calling all artists. And trust me when we say artists, that's a very loose term. Okay? Anybody who has any interest in playing with arts is welcome to come also to that one as well. Let's see here. The other thing is, because we are in the middle of our pledge dive, and for those of you who are new, we do an annual pledge. Right now, our church year goes from July to June, so we're now building our budget for the next year, and that depends on our pledges, right? And so one of the ways that we encourage people to pledge is that we have a drawing every week for someone to win the, I think it's a $50 Visa gift card. Or it's cash, either one, I'm not sure which. So we do a drawing, and the sooner you get it in, then the more chances you have to win. So I'm going to do this, and last year I remember I won and I had to return it. Let's see here, all right, so. Oh, Bob and Joan Kruder won. These are wonderful people who've been around for a very long time. So congratulations to Bob and Joan. There we go. All right. Let's see here. I think I got all the announcements out there that we need to do, but look at all these wonderful ways that you can get involved and meet people in smaller groups, and depending on what your interests are. So I really encourage you to look at the welcome table. We'll get you connected however you would like to do that. So remember Ubuntu. Remember that you are because we are. Let us sing our final song. This service is over. Let our service continue.